What is a VA appraisal? First of all, it's not a home inspection. Whereas, as you'll see in another video in our series that touches on the 3 kinds of inspection in a real estate transaction, a home inspection is a thorough examination of several features of a home. An appraisal is a head and shoulders observation to determine the reasonable value. In fact, at the top of the form that's used to order the VA appraisal, the words read "Request for Determination of Reasonable Value." That's the key phrase, reasonable value. There are therefore many actions a home inspector will take that an appraiser will not. For example, an appraiser won't move furniture to gain access to an area. Who orders the VA appraisal? Only the lender can order the appraisal, and they do so by logging into a secure VA website. The VA then assigns the appraisal to an appraiser in a rotation method. The appraiser has a set period of time in which to accept or reject the order. On a purchase transaction, 4 things are mandatory to be in place for an appraisal to be ordered. 1. The veteran must have signed an intent to proceed disclosure document indicating they are moving forward with the VA loan. 2. A point of contact for the appraiser to call to schedule visiting the property. 3. A certificate of eligibility for the veteran. VA doesn't want the veteran spending money on an appraisal only to find out they're not even eligible. 4. A complete purchase contract with all addendums and offers. A 5th requirement came into play in August 2024, resulting from a new legal ruling affecting real estate agents' commissions. The VA requires that when the VA appraisal is ordered, the lender also upload a copy of the signed buyer representation agreement between you, the veteran, and the real estate broker agent representing you, outlining, amongst other things, the maximum amount your broker agent can receive from the transaction. Tidewater. Tidewater is a specific part of the VA appraisal process that comes into play if, at any point before completing their final report, the appraiser has doubts about the property's value meeting requirements. In such situations, the appraiser must promptly notify the person designated as the point of contact in the transaction. This allows for the additional information to be submitted, like different comparable sales or further property insights, which aids in determining an accurate value. Typically, real estate agents involved in the transaction will step in to provide the additional data, but it's essential that they do so within 48 hours of receiving the appraiser's request. Often, veterans and real estate agents mistakenly ask, when an appraiser has invoked the Tidewater protocol, what value the appraiser has come up with. The simple answer to this is none. The appraiser hasn't completed the report yet and has not come up with any value. But he or she is asking for help to determine value because the data they presently have doesn't support the value in their opinion. What happens during a VA appraisal? An appraiser has at least 2 distinctly separate stages in completing the report. One involves gathering data from the comfort of their home or office on the computer. The other involves physically inspecting the property. At the inspection, the appraiser will measure each room and take photos of the home's interior, exterior, and of the street. The appraiser pays attention mainly to the size of the home, location, age, condition, and any improvements or upgrades. Finally, they're looking for any abnormalities such as that may negatively affect the home's desirability. Who gets a copy of the appraisal? Once the appraiser has completed the report, they don't email it to the lender, real estate agent, or veteran. Instead, they upload the electronic version to the VA web portal. This alerts a staff appraisal reviewer or SAR at the lender, usually the underwriter, to begin reviewing the report for quality and accuracy, so it's not a done deal yet. Notice of value. The VA appraisal doesn't stand by itself. Once the appraisal report is uploaded by the appraiser, the SAR at the lender, having reviewed the appraisal report, must issue a final notice of value to the veteran, also known as the NOV. The NOV not only gives an official reasonable value for the home, but also specifies any conditions that need to be met, including repair items and pest inspection issues. The VA loan cannot close until all NOV items are cleared. Before issuing the NOV, the SAR will run the appraisal report through a proprietary analytical appraisal scoring technology from a company called Veros that issues a Vero score for the appraisal. Vero score does not provide an estimate of value or make decisions for the lender's SAR. In addition, Vero score does not accept or reject appraisals or characterize them as good or bad. The Vero score technology scores the appraisal to give the SAR an indication of the risk level. High-risk appraisals are defined as appraisals with an overall risk score of 799 and under. In such a case, the SAR's antennas would go up, so to speak, and they would know to do a more intensely comprehensive review of the appraisal before issuing an NOV. The veteran must receive a copy of the appraisal report along with the NOV. Repair items. If something about the property doesn't meet VA's minimum property requirements, known as MPRs, the appraiser will call the item out to be repaired. Some repairs called out by the VA appraiser, however, unless they're health and safety related, can be waived if the veteran specifically requests a waiver from the VA, giving reasons why they believe these shouldn't impede closing the deal. The veteran's written request should include a statement that he or she will not hold VA liable for any issues that may arise. The lender has to agree to the veteran's request, and VA will usually agree with it as long as the property is habitable from the standpoint of safety, structural soundness, and sanitation. The VA will then amend the NOV that was issued to remove these repair conditions. Repair requests must be handled delicately because in some cases, the appraisal value in NOV may become reduced by VA on account of repairs not been completed. There are two items that cannot be waived. 1. Lead-based paint concerns, and 2. The final property condition in a new construction. These will always require that the appraiser revisit the property to sign off, and they cannot be waived. Reconsideration of value, ROV. If the appraiser's final report brings the value in lower than the purchase price, the veteran, with the assistance of any party in the transaction, but usually the lender, can request a reconsideration of value or ROV from the VA Regional Loan Center that governs the region the home is in. This can only be done after the NOV has been issued. It has to be signed by the veteran, and the veteran must request a specific value along with a written argument as to why the increased value is justified. We have a whole video on the ROV process, so this is all we will say here for now. Unpermitted additions. Many properties have garage conversions or other types of additions like bedrooms that have no permits from the city or county. The VA isn't very vocal on what they require, leaving it up to the appraiser to make a judgment call. Some appraisers will ignore the absence of permits, while others will mention that the conversion was done without permits. Typically, the unpermitted addition will be allowed to remain if all of the following points are met. The subject addition adheres to all VA guidelines. The appraisal report describes the quality of the work, which the appraiser deems acceptable, example, completed in a workmanlike quality. The addition does not alter the number of units in the subject property, example, from 1 unit to 2 units. If the appraiser assigns value to an unpermitted addition, they must demonstrate it's acceptable to the local market using comparable home sales with similar additions and state the following in the appraisal. Unpermitted additions are common in the market area, and a typical buyer would consider the unpermitted additional square footage as part of the overall property square footage. The appraiser has no reason to believe the addition would fail inspection for a permit. Now for some interesting facts about the VA appraisal. A. It might surprise you to learn that VA appraisal rules do not require a home to have a stove, refrigerator, or other appliances in place. VA's MPR, Minimum Property Requirements rules, state the need for cooking, cleaning, and waste disposal capabilities. If appliances are not present, there should be an accessible outlet for a cook plate, and the property must have hot water as well as a functional bathroom. While the appraiser may mention missing appliances, this is a waivable item and shouldn't be treated as an MPR violation. B. The VA appraiser encountering an empty pool will want to make sure it's covered and that the covering is sturdy enough to support the weight of a person standing on it. C. Once completed, the appraisal belongs to the veteran, not the lender. D. Once a VA appraisal is ordered, a case number is assigned. You cannot simply cancel the order and reorder a new appraisal. The original appraisal assignment and appraiser selected sticks. E. A VA appraisal can be transferred from lender to lender, but not from veteran to veteran. If veteran James received a $400,000 appraisal on a home he decided to walk away from due to an unexpected job change, when the home goes back on the market, the real estate agent accepting a VA offer from veteran Rosa cannot rely on that appraisal. Rosa's lender has to order a new VA appraisal, which may or may not come in at the same value, even a few days apart. F. A VA appraisal is good for 6 months. Afterward, you'd need a new appraisal order with a new VA case number. However, the SAR at the lender can contact the VA to request a short extension for the Notice of Value (NOV). This is often the case for new construction homes. If the time frame makes sense, the VA staff would usually grant this extension to save the veteran from the additional cost of an entirely new appraisal. G. Sometimes, for any number of reasons, a veteran wants an appraisal transferred from the lender who ordered it to a different lender. When this happens, lenders about to lose a commission will sometimes refuse to cooperate. The VA specifically instructs lenders as follows. Lenders are expected to cooperate on a reciprocal basis when a veteran purchaser chooses to have his or her mortgage transaction completed by a lender other than the one who ordered. If the lender still doesn't comply, VA will bypass the lender and just do the transfer internally. H. Should the veteran attend the appraisal inspection? This is not necessary and quite uncommon. However, either the buyer's real estate agent or seller's agent typically meet the appraiser at the home and provide any additional data or insight the appraiser would find useful. Appraisers are trained to not discuss their findings during the appraisal inspection, and anyone that's present should steer clear of any conversation that appears to persuade the appraiser to come up with a certain value. I. The veteran is responsible for the cost of the appraisal, but technically anyone can pay it, including the lender, real estate agent, or even seller. J. The VA sets timeliness requirements for appraisers to meet, beginning with the day of assignment considered as day 1. They can be found at www.benefits.va.gov. The allowed time frame depends on the property's remoteness and the availability of appraisers in the home's region. For example, at the time of this recording, for the entire state of Connecticut, 10 business days, whereas for Kenai Peninsula in Alaska, it's 20 business days. K. The appraisal fee is set and regulated by the VA and can be found at www.benefits.va.gov. Neither the appraiser nor lender, real estate agent, or veteran decide the cost of the appraisal. L. Appraisals may be assigned to appraisers from different counties or zip codes, as the VA doesn't restrict where they can perform their work. This can be a concern for real estate agents and veterans, as unfamiliarity with an area can be risky in terms of arriving at an accurate value opinion. What protections do veterans have? Well, state laws require appraisers to be familiar with their work areas, and the VA expects them to have relevant experience therefore. In rare cases, when VA struggles to find appraisers in remote areas, nearby appraisers may be asked to travel, but they can decline if they're unfamiliar with the area. VA's actual guidelines read as follows. An individual may be designated to more than one fee roster geographic area, provided he or she demonstrates the required experience or qualifications, geographic competency. Ultimately, appraisers decide where they're willing to work within their designated counties or zip codes, and clearly this has pros and cons for sellers and VA buyers. M. When an appraisal is assigned to a VA appraiser, he or she can accept or reject it. Typically, VA appraisers are expected to acknowledge an appraisal assignment within the next business day. An appraiser could reject an order for various reasons, such as illness, vacation, or inadequate qualifications and experience for that area or property type. In general, appraisers are supposed to accept all assignments within their designated area. If they are unwell or on vacation, VA expects them to temporarily remove themselves from rotation and provide a reason for any rejections. VA monitors rejection frequency, and if it becomes problematic, performance discussions may ensue. N. For an appraiser to be on the approval panel of appraisers that can do VA appraisals, they must not just be licensed in that state, but have a minimum of 5 years appraising experience and pass background checks.